So what we're going to work with now is this background over here. So what we want to do is we want to unlock the playing card by clicking on the background layer. Sometimes you have to double click and say OK, but basically you want it to be layer 0 and you want the layer to be unlocked. Using the magic wand tool, I'm going to select where I want the background to be. And you hit delete. So you could see that what's happening is I'm eliminating some of the areas that I want to be just a checkerboard. Now I hit the magic wand tool over here and it went around the outside. So what's happening is if I make the microphone invisible, you could see I created this I opened up this barrier here. So before I go any further, I'm going to merge the microphone with the background. So now if I use the magic wand tool, it'll keep that area contained. So also I'm going to merge this piece right here. I don't know what part it's from. Oh, it's from here. I'm going to merge this layer 5 copy with the background as well. That should work out. I can also merge it with, actually I can merge it with pretty much everything. So let me do that. Merge visible. Okay. And this will allow me to select here. So basically what it did is it opened up these areas right here, and it's pretty much like a hole behind there. So if I put the background behind this layer 6, we should be able to see it. So here's the image that we're going to use. I'm going to use the move tool and I'm going to bring it over. So it's kind of a good sign that it's big, because again, it's a nice high resolution picture. I'm going to shrink it up, holding the proportion. I don't know why it's holding on to those selected areas, but shouldn't interfere with the bigger picture. So I'm going to put it in place. You can always adjust it as you're working. And you're going to move this layer down behind layer 6 so you can see that's how that's going to work. Okay, so you can kind of move it around. You want to be able to cover up all of those unwanted areas. Find a spot that looks pretty good. All right, and once you're happy with that selected area, that is good. Now, if you run into a situation, like let's say that, like right now, I can't really see the club. What I can do with this is I can select the area with the club, just like this. And I can make a copy of this club, like via copy. So you can see here, I made a selection of just that club. And what I can do is maybe put like a layer style on it. For example, like an outer glow. And we've done this before. Let's do the spread. Yeah, let's make it kind of smaller. Yeah, so if you want to put a little glow around it just so it shows up, you can see it without it, and with it, just adds a little bit of something to it so it shows up. So those little incidental things you're going to possibly be able to change. Now, as I'm looking here, I can see I made a mistake up in here where actually it made a hole where I didn't want it to be. Not that I'm happy that it happened, but in a way, it's a learning experience for you guys to see. So if you run into this situation where over here, this area was selected by accident, it's just that I'm going to have to fill this in with white at some point. It's kind of easy, actually. I can make a new layer, and I can pick white, or even use the clone stamp tool if I want. And I can clone this white field here. Okay. And I made a new layer, so it's going to be in the back. And I'm going to go to this layer to sample it, sample the target area. Okay, so here it is, but I'm going to move it to its separate layer. And if I just start clicking on this back here, it's literally, it's like putting a white piece of paper in between. Make this invisible, you can see what I did. So I have this area that I just kind of fabricated, and it just filled in that space there. So let's just double check I didn't do that anywhere else. Nope, we are good. So it's pretty much a done project. A couple of things you could do is if you wanted to change the color of this area here, if you hit Command U, you can certainly experiment with colors. The only downside is that since I merged the layers, if I decide to change the colors, you can see it's also changing the color of the face. So if I wanted to change the colors of the playing card, I would have to do that prior to merging the layers together. All right. Now, just real quick, after you're done with your project, you can merge everything together, and we can just make the same, we can duplicate what's up here down below. And to do that, we would select everything that we changed. So I'm just going around the area here. And the reason why we don't want this to be a really well-defined like rectangle or anything is that we don't want to see any of these seams. So I'm just kind of going through particular areas to select. Up and around. Okay. And I'm going to make a copy, lay via copy. Okay. Got it? So now I'm going to rotate this around. So I go to Edit, Transform, Rotate 180, and I'm going to fit this in place. So hopefully you can kind of get an idea of why I didn't do the rectangle, is because I don't want that seam to be noticeable. So I'm going to put this in place where I think it should sit, and then you can see the seam should be looking pretty invisible. This seam right here, all along here. So, I mean, I just make it invisible and bring it back. You can see this line is a little bit too thin, so I might want to fix that. But you just want to check your seams. Oops. Okay, so like right over here, underneath it, just kind of all shifted a bit. So maybe moving it down a bit would be helpful. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good, but you can see it's starting to interfere with that area over there. So perhaps I want to use the eraser tool and remove it right up to that line there a little bit. So it's all based on illusion. It's all creating it so it looks pretty seamless. Yeah, it looks good over there. Looks pretty good up and around there. Yeah, and that's it. So we want to merge those layers together, and that's great. One last thing I can mention is that if you wanted to change the font, again, you can just go with the clone stamp tool, get rid of the J, and you can replace it with whatever letter you want, the A, or an M for Maroon 5, whatever you want. So hopefully you have fun with this project, and I'll catch you next time.